I mean, he stood in spite of the entire nation being against him. He was still willing to say, no, God said, let's go get it. Let's go get it. That takes a lot of courage. One of the things that sets a godly person or a Christian apart is, look, we're totally different. So when there's a famine, we share. When there's adversity, we sing. When there's difficulties, we praise. And that takes courage, but it also takes a different spirit. When you go to Joshua 24, it says, Caleb who followed the Lord with his whole heart. That's the whole point right there. And that's the other 167.
You drink this, you won't eat nothing. You won't eat nothing all day. You won't.
For real?
Yeah, I ain't kidding. I mean, I'm telling you, I've been drinking these and then the rest of it's water. Drink one of these and the rest of water.
All day?
All day. And then when I get home,
that's healthy, bro.
probably not, but
He's losing weight, though.
the subject isn't healthy. I'm losing weight.
Yeah.
I need something because I've been trying to lose weight for...
Well, do that, I'll tell you.
This is about my 4th week. And I've been following the normal... I mean, I don't have much of a routine for this. Don't eat so much. Go on some walks. And
Well, Ben's the health man, so I'm just throwing my
we
juice.
saw that swimming.
Hear that again?
Women.
Don't drink your calories.
The last month though, I've been trying my best, and it's like I'll lose 2 or 3 pounds. Usually it's going to mom and dad's. I go to mom and dad's and I undo an entire week.
Yeah, that's it.
But it's like I've not lost an ounce in 4 weeks of trying to diet. I don't know. It might be age and metabolism.
Go ahead and tell us how your swimming has been so we get over that. Go ahead.
Is it recording now?
Yeah. I sneak it in. I don't give you an action.
How many miles is
No,
Just 6/10. For the record, I tried to swim yesterday afternoon, and I don't know.
Did you swim
Afternoon swims ain't good as morning swims.
Did you swim this morning?
I did not. I was supposed to do the bicycle, and I woke up at 5:30, and I said, I ain't going.
So your hairdo this morning was
But
just
I
coming out of
did.
the shower.
Yeah.
It looked like it came out of the pool, so that's why I was
Yeah,
worried.
no, it was out of the shower. No, I worked out twice yesterday. I did the swimming, then I went to body flow. And man, this morning I was like, I ain't going to that bike class. I ain't doing 3 classes in 12 hours. I ain't crazy.
too much. Yeah, I was going to
I
start.
ain't committed to that yet.
I have, how would you say this? I have, what it's like in college when you get the verbal commitment and then you sign a letter of intent. I've not signed the letter of intent, but I've verbally committed to starting a workout plan soon.
There
We
you
haven't
go.
quite got to the actual
Well, you're
doing
walking
it.
7 miles a day.
Yeah, I think I need to step it up just a little bit, maybe run occasionally. Do something, get the heart rate up a
Yeah,
little bit.
that cardio makes a big difference.
Yeah. Do you play on softball team? Y'all won, was it last night? I saw the post today.
They won last night.
Okay. You played
He
We're going to play Wednesday night, right? Wednesday night should be for the championship.
I don't think so.
I thought there was only 4 teams in the tournament.
Is that right?
In y'all's bracket. It means you only got to
I
win
guess
2
so.
games.
Oh.
That's double elimination.
Yeah.
Could be double.
Well, if they won last night, I guess there's got to be more than 4 teams, ain't there?
Because there's some teams that we ain't played that's in the same league, but we got to play through all them, the ones that are top notch,
Yeah.
scoring 30 runs every game.
How many women do you have on there?
Rachel and Mac.
Just got to win 3 games. Well, you win that one.
Okay.
Yeah, you could possibly just win 2 games. Ain't but 4 teams for what I'm seeing.
Okay. I hadn't even looked at the bracket.
So y'all beat Faith Covenant Family Church last night.
So who's the next one?
So either you play, Clayton Holy Heat. Who's that? Clayton Holy Heat or Grace Community White.
I hope it ain't Grace.
They're good.
Bunch of 20-some girls.
Yeah, they're young.
They run and hit. They can put it in any gap they want. They just call it and put it in.
How did they finish 3rd?
Just like you, they probably what's it called? Not what it's called.
Nailed it in.
Saying.
What's that? Luck into it?
No. When you don't give it all you got.
Mailing it in.
No.
Oh, they just kind of sandbag.
Sandbag. Okay.
Just like Ben does. They'll sandbag a little bit.
Sandbag a little bit.
Oh, man.
I reversed sandbagged in the Sully's Golf League, so you have a 3-round qualifier
Right.
to set your handicap. And I've set
all
literally my
out.
personal record on one of those
There
3
you go.
rounds.
That's why you test yourself.
Yeah, except now I've been playing behind the 8 ball all year. I'm giving way too many shots to everybody else. Well, BG, welcome, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm-
What up?
You surprised me. I saw you in the parking lot, and I thought you were here to do something with the electric. I assumed you were going to do some electrician work.
Well, that's
while you
going
were
to
here.
happen here in just
Okay.
after the show. Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
One of our sponsors. We're joined today by one of our sponsors,
There we go.
BPG Electrical.
Yeah, I didn't bring any shirts, but
You're wearing one, I think, ain't you?
shirts. I got plenty of shirts. What are you, a medium?
Medium.
That's the ongoing thing on this show.
Yeah.
185 and a medium.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I still order
down
mediums.
2 sizes.
I still order mediums, and that's my motivation. And I tell you, if I ever lose some weight, I've got a whole wardrobe waiting on me.
Medium.
But I have not. I don't buy new clothes. If I get too fat to wear the ones that I got, I just go on a diet. That's my.
It's time to cut back.
I won't admit that I need new clothes.
When I started the business, I had to go to an extra large because I gained so much weight.
That'll do it. Yeah.
And now I'm getting to the point where I can go back to my larges.
Yeah.
Because they're getting a little bit.
It's called
thinner.
Monster Drinks and Peanuts.
Took me
And hard work.
A lot of camping.
Yeah.
Hard work. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
I got clothes for all sizes.
Do you?
Yeah, I've been up and down.
Did you finally run out of polos?
No, I just took the horse off.
I mean, I have seen pinks. I've seen oranges. I've seen. Man, you have just been like a virtual rainbow.
Have they called you yet? Because as much as you talked about how many polos you bought, have they tried to sponsor you or give you a 50%?
I don't know.
Yeah, we
I
need
know. They should.
another sponsorship deal. Kenny's
Yeah,
Jams and
actually,
Jellies.
This was a polo shirt, but it's not branded.
Is it?
They don't have it on there.
What's the tag say in the back?
Man, that's them. What was it? Saddlebred or what was the one that was?
It was
knocked off so
Saddlebred.
bad?
That was like an off-brand.
Had the lion jumping on it, tiger jumping on it when we were little. You remember them?
I remember the alligator.
I know what you're talking about. I can't
They had
remember.
a tiger jumping across it. It wasn't a polo. It was a knockoff polo or an Azad. Wasn't Azad.
Azad was the alligator at one time.
Yeah, that's all it cost.
But now they must have sold
They
the
used to be
Azad.
together?
Yeah. Then they sold it, and they
Azad?
just brought lacrosse back.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I mean, in the last 10 years.
That's bugged me. I can't remember who the line.
I can't
logo was.
remember, but it's a great. That would be what brand that is. I can look at the tag. It
I
probably
would have
is.
never thought Kenny was a
Garanimals. It's Garanimals.
Yeah, I'm
know all
not-
about
I'm,
fashion.
I'm not. I just like my shirts.
Okay. That's fashion, sir.
That is promotes the definition. of it.
See, man, you're gonna be great on this show, man. You're gonna do
great.
well today.
Oh, man.
Yeah, Brandon had said he didn't want to say nothing. I said, man, you got to say
Can't
something.
do that.
You'll
No, I'm
do
just going to sit
fine.
here and listen. And
No, you add in because you believe me, you'll have to add in something because
Well, I listen.
something will be said.
Every
Yeah.
time y'all put one out, I listen to it every week. It's part of my routine. 'Cause
I will say,
a few
yeah.
fishing podcasts, but this one here, I'll make sure that I always listen. And then sometimes I do get upset with you a little bit because I'm like, all right, it's been 2 or 3 weeks now. I ain't had my
Where's my show?
fix yet.
He is my
When I
Brandon.
get used to it, you
Well,
know.
I appreciate
like,
that. Brandon's one of our best fans. Man.
He
listens
is.
to the show.
He's the only one that I know. Like in the beginning, when we first started doing this thing, I would get texts from people once in a while if it was a little late. Like but as you get more familiar with it and stuff, some people that would listen a lot, it's they don't listen as often or they catch up late or whatever. Brandon's the one that's still every single week. If I see him on Sunday and it ain't out yet, what's
Where
going on
you
with the
at? Where
podcast?
you
Y'all not
at?
do it this week? Where you at?
Yeah.
You text me once in a
appreciate
while.
Well, and it's really, I enjoy the conversation, but really it does help. It's crazy how if you really sit down and listen to it and what y'all talk about with the Bible and the Lord, you can put it in any day of the week and it actually helps you get through that week. So
You're kind and we appreciate that, man.
Who's your favorite commentator?
Hey, edit this real quick, Derek, please.
Edit.
That's a nice question, man. I like that. Who's your favorite? Oh, man.
If we're talking jams and jelly, you for sure.
Yes.
It seems to me like you listen to the podcast when you go to church.
Man, Kenny.
Look, I'll tell you a story. So
You haven't missed one. I know that.
I missed Sunday. I wasn't at church Sunday.
No, you haven't missed a podcast.
Yeah.
No, I had not.
But you had missed church. I know that.
Yeah,
Trust
look at
me,
that.
the Lord-
Oh, Kenny.
The Lord came down on me on Sunday. I said, I have so much, I've been so busy that I said, I need to stay at home and get the grass cut and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, last week I had just enough time to cut it. Well, I had grass trimmings and all that stuff, and I had to put it in a big old pile in the back of the yard. And I was listening to my music, and every time before I dump it, I throw my phone because the distance is too far, and then dump it. Well, this time I had it on the wheelbarrow, and I forgot to put it on the ground before I dumped it. and I dumped it, and the phone went right in the middle of a 10-foot
Oh,
by
no.
8-foot of grass trimmings all the way, and it fell down. And I spent hours and hours trying to find it. Couldn't find it, so I panicked, and I got a new phone because of the business and stuff like that. And then I finally found it that night.
Was it at the bottom?
It was at the bottom, and I had to use a metal detector. A neighbor, one of the neighbors up the top of the neighborhood had a metal detector.
I figured.
And we went out and
I figured you'd have to just
found
keep.
it, yes.
Can't
And
you
so-
find it with another phone?
Sir?
Can't you find it?
Well, so my phone was on silent, so yes,
Yeah.
Rachel tried to call, but of course she couldn't hear it because it was on silent.
Well, he knows where it's at.
But what I'm trying to tell you is, the whole moral of the story is, if my butt was at church like it's supposed to be, that would have never happened. And the Lord was saying, hey, there's more things that are more important, and that's the church, than cutting your grass. You will find time for that. So I just want to at least say that. Because it went across my head, really. It did.
Sin has a penalty.
Really.
Choose to sin, choose to suffer.
It
Lose
went
the
across my
phone.
mind. That was when I said, Lord, please, just if you could just be with me right here and help me find this phone. But He made me very humble. Very
8
humble
foot
too.
by 10 foot
I mean,
grass
it was
clippings.
months and months. I mean, when
Wow.
I cut my grass, it's, I don't know, 3/4 of an acre in the back. But the grass is so thick, I'll have 15 piles of every time I just cut the back.
Well, what are you
Don't
saving
say-
it for something?
No, listen, I know what you're going to say. Why don't you cut a grass? Listen, we don't have a fancy yard like
Kenny's-
you with a bunch, of
Kenny's gonna
flowers.
find a way to solve your problem retroactively. And the point was, if you've been at church, you wouldn't have done that. Well, welcome to the other
kidding.
167. Brandon, officially welcome to the other
Yes.
Thanks for
167.
the opportunity.
Yeah.
Welcome to
Jump
the
right
behind,
in, man.
behind the
You've
scenes.
seen how it works.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do about this week. Our only listeners here. So I don't do we even bother publishing this one, or do I just text it to you when we're done? But
Hey, but does that thing tell you, though, how many, like, so if you put out a new thing, does it tell you
It gives you
50,
analytics.
50 people listened to this episode this week?
Oh, they
and then-
clicked on it somehow.
yeah, here's the thing. I'm still 2 years into this, and I've spent a lot of time trying to figure this out. The analytics on podcasts, they're there, but they're not. They're all over the board in terms of like what you're getting and how accurate it is. So like one of the metrics that I use, or one of the softwares that I use, might say we had 8 people listen to a certain episode. And then I can go to Apple Podcasts and it'll tell me 73 people listen to that episode. And you go to YouTube and it might say 12. And so it's
Yeah.
and I've looked into it a lot to try to figure out what it is. And the problem with it is, or the reason for that is, some things will track how many downloads you had, but you can listen to an entire podcast without downloading it to your device.
Right.
And then others will just track, okay, well, if you clicked it at all, that's what we're tracking.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if they download. So, like, I think Apple's just telling me how many people clicked it, but they could have listened to 1 second or whatever.
Whole show.
So you never really know.
Because that's how I have it with my Apple. I subscribe to it, so it gives me a notification every time you download it.
And then another layer of it is, and I told y'all this a while back, there are, just with the way podcasting works, I guess, it's all out there public. It's a public feed. Anybody can get their hands on. So if you don't do anything to restrict it, which I don't, there are a whole bunch of companies out there and websites out there that they just aggregate podcasts and put their feed put our feed on their website, which is totally fine. But I never know anything about those subscribers, like how many people listen to those. So we literally could get 20 people or 10,000. I wouldn't know the difference sometimes. The idea is obviously you want to see the numbers, whatever numbers you're looking at, you want to see them getting bigger. But as far as how accurate they are, I seriously don't have a clue how many people listen.
And it'll tell you where. We had some folks, people still in India checking us out every
We
now
had
and
some
then.
in India. We
Shout
had
out.
some. I was looking like Singapore or somewhere like that was on the last download I looked at.
International, baby.
We are a global show.
Yeah.
Yeah, one or two downloads at a time, but we are international.
Ben, y'all went from nationwide
Ireland. We had Ireland.
Yes,
to
sir.
international.
Well, Ireland.
We had a
Ireland is where
repeat.
we had.
Yeah, we had repeaters
we
from Ireland
we
for a
even
while
had
there.
shout outs to our customers, our fans in Ireland.
Yeah,
We're big over there.
yeah, we need to put the T-shirts out over there.
I think one day we need to film from there.
Well, we're growing. Yeah, we're gonna do some off-site location.
Kenny's come armed for bear today. I mean,
He is, man.
he's got a lot.
He's
to say.
ready.
Hey, let the first one be your front yard. How about that? Let's do that. Let's see how that works.
While
From
you're
the
mowing.
lush gardens of
while we're yelling in the background.
from the lush gardens of Willow Springs.
He takes it over. We're all working. You're cutting the flowers. I'm
Yeah.
cutting the grass, and Ben's weeding.
And you know
we had Brandon, who's our maintenance man.
Okay, thank you.
Gardener maintenance man.
And you fund the whole show.
Jams and jellies got it handled.
He's already funded it more than any of us are. He brings us jams and jellies once in a while. Got us shirts for Christmas.
Man, I'm
brings
telling you,
peanuts.
still the best peanut butter and jelly sandwich I've eaten. Using his jelly. I'm telling you.
Peanut butter?
Did you really?
We had strawberry the other day.
That's cool.
Anything.
All
he
three
makes,
of them.
Good.
Rachel loves the strawberry on toast. That's the she eats
Yes.
all the time.
But if you'll put that with peanut butter and then take like those potato sticks they make, you know those potato sticks? You buy them, they're like in a can like this, and they're potato sticks, and they're like little.
Oh yes, like you
and
would
put
use
those
French
on
onion
it.
or the Frenchies or whatever.
No. These are actually called potato sticks.
I know what you're talking about, but it's the same brand.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
might be French's. Utz has them too.
Oh, Utz.
But if you'll just take a handful of those and put it on there, and then oh man, that's a sandwich.
We're gonna really see how much street cred everybody's got here. Who knows the rapper Eminem?
I do.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, we
He
all
was
know.
in Happy Gilmore too.
Yeah, he was. So that kind of spawned this. So Gabe mentioned him to me. He's like, "Did you know Eminem was in that?" And I didn't recognize him when I watched it the first time. I had to go back and look. So for whatever reason, I've always been curious about Eminem because if you know, I mean, I grew up when he first came out. He has some rough songs out there.
what you
He's
talking
Very rough.
even at 17, 18, rebellious years old, I was like, I don't think I can listen to this. Like, this is too much.
Too much.
But I've always just kind of kept, not like stalking or anything. Once in a while, I'll just kind of check in and see, like, you know, what's he up to nowadays and stuff like that. And I saw something. I'm curious to hear if anybody here has heard this before, but did you hear a song that he put out 3 years ago? It was him and Kanye West and somebody else. It's called Take This Gospel. Or Use This Gospel. Sorry, Use This Gospel. So I found this, and
But
it's
Kanye had an album a while back. That was a while back, like maybe 6-7 years ago.
well, and
That was supposed to be, you know, Christian.
Christianly, yeah. So the artist, if you look it up on Spotify, it's DJ Khalid. I think it's the name.
DJ Khaled. He's on
there you
everything.
go. There's my street cred.
I mean, he shows up in every song you got out there now.
Yeah. So it's him featuring Kanye West and Eminem, but Eminem is the majority of the words probably. He goes on a little bar in the middle of it there. And I'll tell you, I assume he wrote it himself because it's got his sound to it.
Right.
And it's essentially a testimony or a profession of faith in this song. And it's fantastic. So I'm watching Eminem Use This Gospel. Use This Gospel. So I was listening to it, and I was watching a couple like reaction videos, and people on YouTube like, well, we don't know if it's sincere or not. We don't, and you know, that gets back to judgment. I think we're real quick to probably want to critique what's in somebody's heart. Does he mean this? Does he not mean it? Is he doing it to sell records? Look, if he's on there giving a profession of faith, I'm more of the opinion of, hey, let's just be happy and supportive of that, and not dissect it with go through it with a fine-tooth comb and try to look too much into it. But anyway, my real punchline of this whole story is there's a song, I was laughing about this Sunday morning on the way to church, me and Gabe were listening to it. There's a song he put on one of his first albums where this is probably the song that made me stop listening altogether. This was the one where I finally said, that's too much, like that's just too much. But there's a line in there where he says something about, my mom always told me to, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say nothing, bleep that, I'd rather put out a bleeping gospel record. So I was laughing with Gabe the other day. I said, God's got a sense of humor, and it might have taken 20 years for this to come full circle, but that song, Use This Gospel, topped the Billboard Christian charts when it came out. So not only did he end up putting out a gospel song record, what are you going to call it, but it was the top of the charts 20 years later. So it might have taken God a little while to get his final, what would you call that, to make his point, but 20 years later, he did exactly that. He put out a gospel song, and I think it's a pretty good one if you can understand the words. It goes pretty fast, but
I would have never known that.
No, I didn't know that. Now I know Kanye did an album, and that had a whole lot of albums. He had a Ceylon. He had several good songs that I was like, okay. In fact, when my kids came home and said, "Dad, you'd really like this," and I was like, I don't know about all that. And it actually was decent. Again, I'm not. It's so hard for folks that are celebrities like that. Because they're being watched, they're being judged, they're being, and then on top of that, when you got an Eminem who has, let's just face facts. I mean, you listen to his music, less than God honoring, especially in the very beginning. And oftentimes what happens for those guys is you start getting older, you start having children, and you start realizing, oh, okay, maybe I don't need to be quite like that. I don't know where Eminem is with the Lord. It'd be interesting to see. I'd always wonder, and I'd love to find out, because he's still releasing some that's got some stuff in it. It's a little shady.
What's up? Well, please.
See if you knew. I want to see if you were really a fan.
Yeah. When you're a real fan, you listen to it all the way. You get used to it.
Yeah. Well, I have not heard much of his recent stuff. I mean, literally, the kids. I hear them singing stuff of his sometimes. I'm like, well, hold up a minute. How do you know that song? And they listen to the cut versions, I guess.
Yeah.
And Gabe was asking one time, he's like, why don't you like Eminem? I said, well, some of the, you don't understand some of the stuff he says. And I finally I don't know if it's good parenting or not, but I finally said, fine, you know what? I played him one of them. And I said, that's why.
Your ears ain't trash cans.
Yeah. He said, okay, I get it now. But I haven't. That record probably came out when I was 18. So his newer stuff I haven't even listened to at all. So I don't know what's come out recently.
I don't know that I'd say much change. Just a little bit here and there.
So when this song was released in 2022, I saw another video of him a while back where I think... Again, see, nowadays you don't know what's real and what's not. You don't know if this is a true story, if it's an AI video or whatever, but supposedly somebody had held up a sign at a concert that said something like, do you believe in Jesus? And he called him up on stage and said, yeah, I do. But I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah, I know.
But this song is, if you can pull the lyrics up and as you're listening to it on Spotify, and if you just look at his part of it, I mean, I would say it's a godly, it's what he's saying is just a profession of faith. It's a very honest profession of faith. It's the first time I've ever heard him not curse in. He does say at one point, I'm effed up in the head, but he does say effed. He doesn't say the word. So that's a big step up from where he used to be.
So of course, as it goes, it plays it. So far, the lyrics are
Yeah.
So
you got to get through about 30 seconds of that.
Is that real? That's
what DJ Khaled's gonna have. He's a DJ, man. He gotta make the noise.
Yeah.
DJ Khaled.
he sounds like he's a DJ himself, right?
Ben's he's well versed in a lot of topics.
Yeah.
He's your fitness guy. He's your DJ guy. He knows a little bit of
all
everything.
around.
Yeah.
Hey, that's coming a lot from him.
Yeah, I mean, he's all around guy. He knows a little bit of everything.
I think it's just one of, and again, that's where we want to be the ones that pass judgment.
That's it.
I'll be the one to think about that. At the same time, there really should be a I think that's what we're always getting at is the change that Christ makes should be so evident. And it should be so real that, you see a difference.
Yeah.
And that's, I hope it is. I would love to see it. I know a couple of years ago, Deion Sanders came out as being, saved and whatnot. And I think from time to time he still talks about it and whatnot. But the next thing I know, he's hosting the Victoria's Secret's lingerie show. Yeah. And I'm like, come on, man.
So to be clear, that's frowned upon.
we got to jive a little bit here. I mean, so, your walk should match your talk.
Yeah.
And so we're quick. I think we always have to. I would caution people. Anytime someone gets famous, either claims Christianity or says they believe in Christ, don't put so much pressure on them because they may be new Christians. They may not know everything. I mean, it is. But we put so much. Oh, they're a star, and they put so much pressure on them. I think of a local guy that played ball here. His name was Josh Hamilton. Josh Hamilton was a great baseball player, a 5-star, 5-tool. I mean, he was the guy. I mean, he was going to be the next Babe Ruth, Barry Bonds. I mean, you name it. He was going to be the best. And unfortunately, I think he got ahead of himself as far as he signed some contracts that put him in a whole lot of money at a very young age.
Yeah.
And didn't have some things around him to help him, and ended up doing some things that really hurt his career more than helped him. And he'd even say that. I mean, I've heard his testimony a time or two, and I remember telling people, don't put so much pressure on that kid that he's and he was out testifying, or groups would have FCAs would have him in, and I was like, man, let's not do that yet until let's get some miles under your feet before you start talking to people, or before you're held up as the standard bearer of Christianity. And I think that goes for all of us. Is, man, you want to make sure to have some miles behind you before you start going in front of folks. Everybody thinks the Apostle Paul had the saw the light, and then all of a sudden he was preaching. Well, if you take a look, he spent 3 years in Arabia in the desert. I believe he was plowing through the Old Testament, preparing himself to be able to make the defense of who Christ is and being able to be who he became. So don't be so quick to just say, and anytime I meet a young guy that says, kind of gets to a place where they're like, I believe God's calling me to the ministry, and I'm ready to preach in front of a church. I'm like, let's slow down, cowboy. Let's bring that back a little bit. Let's groom and grow before we just put you out there in front of people, because that's what Paul talks about in Timothy too. Is, look, you want to be careful if you get someone that's too young, because they can get the big head, they can fall into traps, and you can do that anyway. Even when you're old head, you can fall into traps. So
yeah, and Josh Hamilton, he did work out his way out of that, and became MVP of the major leagues, but then he fell back. Yeah, and I don't know what he's doing now.
And I think it's one of those things of that's another lesson. That we always have to be careful. One of the things that I think we always have to do is, the more responsibility and the more you can help yourself, more responsibility and the more the deeper we go with the Lord, you really got to put a bunch of guards around you. And what I mean by that is maybe not human guards, but you got to guard your life. Because if not, man, the enemy knows your game plan. He watches game film. He knows exactly what your weaknesses are, and and he knows what your strengths are. And I've always said an unguarded strength is a double weakness. In other words, if you're not taking care of guarding again, you may think, I don't need to worry about that. Man, that's exactly where the enemy's going to attack you, especially when you get that pride in your heart.
But on the flip side, I'd like to say this on the flip side, is we shouldn't be judging those people.
No.
Because he don't fit my standard of a Christian, but my standard is not God's standard.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just saying you just got to be careful about putting so much responsibility or so much attention or so much emphasis on that one, because, man, I just think there's a good thing about maturation, taking the time to mature.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm saying that the other side of that.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying they're not. In fact, I know he is. In fact, I enjoyed his testimony, and what he said to those young kids was key. Because one of them asked, "How many tattoos you got?" I mean, he was tatted up and down. He said, "Too many. One too many, or how many I got, that's too many." And was kind of telling them, "Hey, I wouldn't get one if I were you." But he did. He got out in L.A. or away from home, and really. Yeah.
Well, there
was
were
a lot of pressure on the kid.
Yes, there was.
So, two extremes of this that I see a lot on Facebook or YouTube or wherever. You've got all these YouTube channels and podcasts and things that like to commentary. It's just commentary. They want to comment on everything, and there's some of that I really enjoy. But at the same time, you take two extremes. Okay, you take the Eminem example. But then I've seen the exact same thing on Lauren Daigle, one of really famous Christian singer, where somebody will take a snippet of maybe somebody asking her about homosexuality and her taking a very basically non-judgmental answer to that, basically just not taking the bait, not coming out and saying everybody's going to hell and not really supporting it, but just being neutral. And then they blast her and say she's not a real Christian because she isn't willing to take a stand for the truth and blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, then the flip side of that, you take the Eminem thing. Okay, does every single thing that he releases nowadays need to go on K-Love? Probably not. Yeah. You know what I mean? But does that mean that he's not had an encounter with God, that he's not in that process, that he's not whatever? There's an interesting, even when Eminem was first coming out, I remember seeing interviews with him where everyone was so critical of all the stuff that he said, and it was bad, but he was saying, I'm not really a murderer and doing all these things. I sing about it, it's an act, okay? Like this is an act. Yeah. It's not who I really am. Now, I don't think it was a good act, and I'm not supporting it. But when you look at people you put people on that pedestal, and you start to look at, what they're. He could be doing this song as a publicity stunt, or it could be truly from the bottom of his heart. You don't know the difference. Lauren Daigle could be a closet Christian, a lukewarm Christian that just puts on a good show, or she could be genuine. Mm-hmm. Nobody knows these things, but especially celebrities. But I think even at the local level, you do the same thing within the church. You put the leaders in the church on a higher pedestal. You take somebody like Josh Hamilton, speaking at FCA,
right?
Okay, is that moving too far, too fast? Well, that can become almost a fine line somewhere between we are called to share our testimony and to profess our faith. Once I've professed my faith, now I'm wearing that Christian badge that's going to hold me on to some sort of a higher standard publicly to whoever's around me, whether that's 2 people or 2 million. But where's that threshold now where, okay, now I'm taking a bigger step into leadership? Because you don't want to tell people, wait, until you've really gotten all your stuff buttoned up and you can live a good Christian lifestyle, you don't be telling people you're a Christian, because that's going to smear our name. That's not what we're saying. No, right, I know. That's right. But there's a balance in there somewhere where you do want to share your faith, but at the same time understanding that even you're flawed in a leadership position. We all are still going to have our struggles.
Maybe it comes down to a thing of leadership, sharing your faith one-on-one versus, okay, now I'm putting him up there in front of a group of folks, which, again, I can understand. Now, athlete will draw kids, and if they can hear the truth, that's great. I'm all for that. It's just I guess my caution is just be careful with it.
Yeah.
Because you just have to be real careful about, all right, is this guy the genuine deal? At least I would want to be.
More leadership, more you're in front of people, the more responsibility you have.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that's where James comes in and says, brother, I'll not have many of you teachers. Now, again, is that the same thing as a teacher? They encourage stricter judgment. I think there is a balance there of, you're going to be in front of people, just expect.
But think about celebrities for a second, because it's a double-edged sword, right? You take somebody like, Eminem's the topic we've been using, but take somebody like him. He's a very well-known figure.
Oh, yeah.
If he is a Christian, becomes a Christian, whatever, that's going to be an influence on a lot of people that could have a lot of other people that might not have ever considered it start looking into the Bible a little bit. Mm-hmm. On the flip side, you've seen a lot of celebrities that are all about Jesus for 6 months.
Yeah.
And then 2 years later, and now that strength of it being, they've got a big following, a big audience, now becomes a disadvantage or a headwind. So you don't want to be bashful about your faith just because you're new to it, right?
Right.
But
exactly.
But yeah, if you're not sincere with it, or if you do stumble a little bit, there's going to be a lot bigger.
You got to be wise.
He just has a big platform.
He does.
How many followers the man got on Spotify?
I mean, you see it in church. If I was doing the same thing that Ben was doing, I wouldn't get as much flack, but he'd get a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's in leadership, so he has to be a lot more careful than I do. Not that I'm not careful. I'm just saying he has to really think about what he's doing more so than I would.
Yeah.
Because I might affect 2 or 3 people. He'll affect 2 or 300.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. When we're looking at, I think we talked about judgment last night on the Monday night Bible study with Doug. And there's a few different. I always think of judgment as like telling other people you're right, you're wrong. In 2nd chapter of James, it's taking a little bit different stance on judgment. It's talking about fair treatment and treating some people.
Somebody comes in with nice clothes, and
right.
Somebody comes in poor, and you say, hey, to the rich man, you sit here.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know how I'm going to get to this.
Well, you gravitate to them.
Yes.
Or you will normally.
Or you really, it's showing favoritism.
You will,
which is
but you will
form of
gravitate.
judgment, too.
Yeah.
That's just our normal, being normal. And well, it's not really being normal, but that's just what we do. We gravitate to the people that we hold people at different levels.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody with a not very charismatic personality, you're going to gravitate to that person.
Yeah.
Somebody with that, that's very quiet, not so much. They're going to be left off the line. That's what I'm saying.
Or somebody's a little more bitter or mad.
Yeah. So
just not a sweet spirit.
that's just what we do.
So, trying to trying to think of how to word this so it don't have to take me an hour to edit it back out later. But when the shortest, well, we shouldn't judge, period, okay?
That's the goal.
That's the goal. But I find myself probably, I don't want to say take an optimistic view of people, but you can always look at somebody that's in church every Sunday and then try to find ways to pick that apart and say, well, are they really saved? Are they really saved? Are they really saved? Maybe what I'm trying to say is I almost sometimes flip that inside out when I'm looking at other people, especially if I don't know them that well, and they may do one thing that I just think is the worst thing in the world, right. Or they may be in some sin that I think is so terrible, right?
Right.
And I'll almost challenge myself and flip that inside out and say, but that doesn't mean that they're not saved, right? And I guess you can look at people who claim to be saved and try to say, are they really? You can also look at people that you might assume are not saved and ask yourself the same question. And I guess what I'm asking is, how much do we do the second version versus the first? We all do a lot of the picking apart other people that are supposed to be righteous. But there's a lot of people that I've not had a conversation with about their faith. I don't know where they stand on their faith. Based on what I see publicly, I don't see any fruit or see anything that makes me think that they're a Christian. But at the same time, I always like to, I don't know if it's naive or optimistic or what, but I always like to hold out a little bit of hope in my heart, maybe that there is something there below the surface, deep down somewhere that God's working with or working on that I may not be able to see. And I guess, what's your response to that? Is that a good thing to do? Is it a pointless thing to do? Is it?
No, I mean, I think it's one of, I don't know that, again, I get it as far as we, that we're not judging others. At the same time, I think there is a discernment that we should kind of at times be looking, and especially for me as a pastor, I'm always looking, all right, is this person going to be somebody that can serve over here, or maybe serve in the ministry doing this and doing that? And so you want to make sure that, okay, they genuinely have a walk. So at times you do have to kind of just, I wouldn't say inspect, but just making sure that, okay, this is legit. This guy, I can trust them that they're going to be responsible, that they won't lead somebody down the wrong path or do something that's going to be boneheaded and hurt the ministry, hurt the church, hurt other believers. So there are times you have to. At the same time, we're I think oftentimes, and maybe that's the whole thing of it is why are you doing it?
In the first place.
Because usually it's to make yourself feel good, or I want to make sure that I'm better than them, versus okay, before I put this guy in a leadership role or something along that nature, all right, we want to make sure that this is right. Yeah. Again, that's where, and the only way, honestly, sometimes to tell is time.
Yeah.
Time and test.
There's nothing wrong with that. I don't think. I mean, but judging people. I don't think that's judging.
No, that's
just being cautious.
I think it's called discernment.
Yeah, but that's part of your job, and you have to do that part of it for.
Right. And at times, I mean, there are people that as a pastor, man, if you're tickling their ears, telling them they're all saved, that's not a good place to be. So there has to be that. Hey, man, something's not right here. Yeah. Even in counseling, when you're counseling others and they're choosing to go and do exactly the exact opposite of what the Scripture says, is that a sign of not being born again, or is it just a sign of, hey, you're just in that much rebellion, you don't care?
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of times is when we judge people, what you're really saying, my sin's all right, and we're comfortable with our sin.
Yeah. Well, that's oftentimes what it is. We don't look at ours.
That's pride.
Yep.
And so
we don't look at ours as hard as we do everybody else's.
No, you could be doing the same thing, but yours is all right.
Usually those are the ones who criticize the most. Is with whatever you've got deep down inside. That's usually the ones you bark at the most to somebody else.
Yeah, to take the spotlight off of themselves and put it on somebody else because they know they're doing probably the same or even worse.
Oh yeah.
Well, I don't know if they even know that.
Or they just get mad at
I mean,
I can't
you're
believe
doing
they
the same
do that.
thing, but they don't get it.
Well, I think we've all been through, right? Where you judge. I know in my life where you judge some people, but then to come to find out, you give them time to get to know them, and you're like, good gracious.
You find out that they're totally different than what you said,
just
or
because you just you just thought this one way and you were being hard-headed and didn't give them a chance, and then you finally do give them a chance, you're like, man, I apologize completely.
So judgment and prejudice goes prejudge is prejudice, prejudge, and so that's often to what it is I think, oh, this group of people or this, blackhead people, people with black hair are smarter than people with silver hair.
And that's a little.
You see how you see how even when he doesn't.
But I mean, that's what prejudge is.
Who's got the black hair now?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
All these different colors of hair we're getting on with, we were black and silver.
Look.
But that's what we do. We prejudge and we label everybody that way. And we tend to think that, okay, since I am this way and they're that way, I'm better than, or we find, and that's what's the heartbreaker about it.
It is, and it's like I'm right, but you're wrong, but I'm doing the same thing.
Right.
And I don't get that because, and I'm not saying I haven't done it, because I have. I've done my share. Mm-hmm. And this is a confession on the high end, not specific, but I'm just saying.
High level confession.
Yeah. I mean, and a lot of times like this, I've had this to happen to me so many times. I wasn't vocal about it, but why did they do that?
Yeah.
And then I find out later, oh, I know now, but I was judgmental. I wouldn't have done that. Mm-hmm. But then once you find out why they did it, oh, it's okay now.
Yeah, I think it comes down
because I understand it. Mm-hmm. And I don't need to.
You don't know people's story, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Like we all wake up in the morning, do our thing, but a lot of people don't know what people are going through.
Yeah.
And everybody has their own things that they're going through, and it's like sometimes you might say, well, this guy's not performing like he should or whatnot, but you don't know what's going on, so you prejudge. But if you find out what's really going on, you're like, man, okay, if I was in his shoes, I'd probably be the same way or maybe worse.
I can't believe you just said that. No, I'm just saying. So that's what I'm saying.
That sounds good, huh?
Yeah.
I hear you.
Well, and you're getting.
Man, he's coming out today.
Kenny's on his game, man.
He's like this, or he's
just ready to go.
Well, you watch on YouTube. I can tell.
I can't believe you said that. It is.
You must have switched.
I think it was those two.
No, is this the bad chair?
No,
this is
I think I
bad
moved
chair.
the bad chair down there.
Get it out of the way.
The worst one.
Well, they moved it back.
Yeah. When you were talking about judging people, and then as you get to know them, you start to realize you were wrong about them. And then I was kind of thinking, and you just said the second example of that too, is sometimes it's not the person itself, it's the situation. Mm-hmm. You see a situation that you think somebody's wrong, and then you find out more information and you realize, oh, okay, now I get that. A small example I was going to bring up anyway. Last week, I had this with Gabe. He didn't have a real good attitude about the volunteering for VBS from the jump. I didn't appreciate it. When I first told him or asked him about it, he's like, well, maybe I'll think about it, and if I can be in your group, then maybe I will. And I finally said, okay, let me rephrase. It wasn't actually a question. I was giving you the opportunity to say you were going to do it, but you're going to do it. Okay, so no question. Well, then Monday when we're leaving, he starts kind of pitching a fit about it, and he had said he wasn't feeling great. He had been kind of, feeling a little bit under the weather, and I thought he was kind of making something up, so he wouldn't have to go. So I told him, get in the car, and, kind of growl at him. Well, then the next night, he was still sick, and took him to the doctor, and he did have a virus. He had a little bit of a fever. I was like, okay, well, I understand. Well, the next day, he was feeling fine. He's running all over the place. He's feeling better. His temperature's back to normal, and Heather said he didn't want to go, and I didn't even bother talking to him. I just said, fine, if you don't want to go, don't go. And I was mad, and I was real mad. And later that night when I dropped Reese back off, he came in and you could tell he was tiptoeing around me because he knew I was mad, and he wasn't real sure if he could talk to me or not, if I was over it or not. And when he finally did talk to me, I was telling him I was disappointed in him, and I gave him, I don't have to say a lot to get to Gabe, and I said what I knew would get the point home. Well, the next day, he's still sick. He got pink eye, and I realized the virus had not really gone away. And now I'm like, crap. I was kind of hard on him considering he's still sick. I didn't know he was still sick. I'm thinking that he's just... And he didn't have a great attitude about it. He was a little bit before he was sick. He still was kind of... But he's nervous. He's uncomfortable around people he doesn't know that well, and he's like, I don't know how to teach. I said, well, you're not teaching. You're just leading people around. But he didn't know what he was getting into. So, but once I found out he was legit sick, well, now I felt like a boneheaded dad for everything I'd said the night before, and I had to apologize to him. I hate having to apologize for, I'm sorry I was wrong for lecturing you, but I mean, I was wrong, and that's with my kid. If anybody knows your kid, if you're going to know anybody, you ought to know your kid. And I still, completely missed the mark with him. So how much do we do that with people that we don't know that well, not knowing the whole situation? And I think the reason that I try to use that, when I say I try to tend to be optimistic, is that I remember how many of those times that I've got under my belt that, man, yeah, I know I didn't do the right thing, but you didn't know the whole story. If you'd seen everything that I had going on, maybe you'd understood why I was that way. So I try to, it doesn't make it right, but I've lived through the other side of it, so I try my best to remember it and others too, but it's sometimes easier than said than done. But I don't know. I almost find myself sometimes maybe making too many excuses for other people when I shouldn't be at the same time. But I was going to ask on that, because my segue question there is, I think that the answer to this is pretty obvious, but when I got to Heather's that night to drop Reese back off, Gabe was truly sorry that he had upset me, and I knew he was. But I didn't get over it instantly like I usually do. Usually when your kids are sorry, you forgive pretty quickly. I still was mad for a few more hours after that. I don't think that God is that way, but I still was thinking about that night. I know he forgives us, but does the anger ever linger for a little while after we do something, or is it just that simple? And that once we are truly apologetic and truly repentant.
Well, I think I would say that he is long. He is very forgiving, very long suffering, very patient, very kind. And if you look at Numbers 14, which one day we'll preach, one day, he gets to verse 21 and he says, "I've pardoned them. I've pardoned them."
Yeah.
But to me, that means when God forgives, he forgives. I don't think he carries over or anything else. But now there's a difference between I've pardoned them and there's no penalty. No, I've pardoned them, but here's what's going to happen. Everybody who is 20 years or older, you're going to die in the wilderness. You said you wanted to die in the wilderness. If we brought you out here to die, I'm going to give you what you want. Yeah. The 10 spies who gave the bad report, they're going to end up with the plague and die. Yeah. The other, all the other millions of people, you got 38 years in the wilderness. Yeah. So the penalty of sin stays. That doesn't mean he's still mad. Doesn't mean he hadn't forgiven. He's pardoned, but the penalty is going to stay. And sometimes I think we think, oh, then we must be, because God still took care of those children of Israel in the 38 years they were in the 38 other years, because they were 40 years. I guess he counted time served, but we got 40 years they had to spend in the wilderness. That he still cared for them, provided for them, day after day, time after time. Yeah. So I don't know that I would say his anger still stays once it's truly repented of. No.
Yeah, so I know that the penalty remains and the forgiveness is instant. Does the anger linger is the one that, because I can forgive somebody.
I would say no, because I would think that would be less than a perfect forgiveness.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's God's style. Anything less than perfect.
And I would say too, plus the penalty, he's there always with you, even during the penalty.
Yeah.
Even through the graces when you come out of the penalty.
Yeah.
I mean,
even in exile, he was still showing when the children of Israel went into exile for 70 years in Babylon. He still was showing mercy and kindness. Yeah. He still spoke to David. He still, did things with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Daniel.
Sorry.
Yeah, but I do want to ask. The reason why I picked up on Daniel, because I had a question on it.
But Daniel, sorry about that. Other D.
I'm always calling David Daniel. So.
And this is a question, and I'll get to my point after you answer this. But do you think? And it's obvious with Daniel, but when they went to Babylon, that Daniel was a so-called, I guess, it's before Christianity, a Christian at the time.
Well, he was definitely a believer in Yahweh and a follower of Yahweh who basically served with his whole heart. Yeah.
And I imagine some of the people that died in the wilderness, that they were good people.
No, I'm sure there were some that were legit.
But they suffered because of the majority.
How
What
about
the majority
Caleb?
do. And yes, what happened?
Caleb had to go 45
Yeah.
years, and I imagine there was some days waking up when it's hot,
Yeah.
and you got to go gather manna, and I'm sure he wants to look around and say, "Oh,
He
you
suffered
idiots
because of
cost
someone
me.
else's sin.
Yeah, you cost me. I should be in the promised land right now, eating grapes that are on 2 sticks and sitting in the shade. But now I'm living in the wilderness because of an entire nation's."
And Daniel, he suffered because of someone else.
Well, I mean, think about it. Where was Daniel at?
Yeah.
He was in Babylon. He was in exile.
Yeah.
So he suffered. His whole life
Right,
was because
right.
he was in exile.
But then but if you really get down to it, we all have sinned.
Sure.
And so, but my point on that was, a lot of times it's just not we suffer, it's the people around us.
Indeed.
Right.
The
And we
entire
forget
nation
about
sinned.
that.
So therefore, Daniel's in exile, and
And-
so are.
And he had nothing to do with the
100,000.
idol worship. No, I know he wasn't the perfect person,
Right.
but he had nothing
Well,
to do with
and it's
idol
funny
worship.
because Daniel is one of those that never has a sin recorded against
Yes.
him in the scriptures. But we know he's a sinner because none righteous, no, not one. At the same time, he has to spend 70 years or close to 70 years in exile. I mean, pretty much his entire adulthood is in the land of Babylon, not his home.
But I want to say that, sometimes it's not our sin that's just going to affect us. Sometimes we need to think about that it affects other people too.
Oh yeah,
And sometimes a lifetime.
it's like a bomb. It's got shrapnel to it.
I mean, it's you could be a child molester and get saved, but that person that was molested, they're going to have a hard life.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
and you might too.
statistics. Yeah. So I'm just saying, our sin carries a lot of what's it called?
Because it carries a heavy price.
Yeah, no, that too, but
Baggage or
baggage. But I was going
Sure.
to
Collateral.
Yeah, collateral.
There you go. That's
carries a lot of
Thanks
collateral.
for bringing up
other
the
people.
source.
2 out of
with
3
me.
ain't bad,
Well, all 3 of y'all had it. Yeah. All 3 of y'all had one word, but it was not. He got the most correct.
Okay.
And I think that's
So that question, which is the most correct way of doing this? So I think he.
Well, you get to be the one that calls us out on it, so.
Yeah.
But I think you're exactly right, and I think it's something to be considered or to be concerned with and to think about that what we might deem as not being so big of a sin, it's going to affect others.
But that don't relieve them of their responsibility.
No.
Yeah, I mean,
Nor does it give them an excuse.
yes, it doesn't give them an excuse because you can. Maybe that's why you act the way that you are acting. But there's a lot of things that you've acted on your own.
That's right.
So
It doesn't give you the right and the excuse to do it.
I'm constantly doing that with the kids now. They're the older two. Well, all 3 of them. They'll start arguing and yelling and fighting, and all of a sudden one of them will just scream at the other one. And as soon as they scream, I scream.
Yeah,
the next
then it's
thing I
on.
do is usually I don't even say very much. I'll just yell "Hey" really loud,
Yeah, what's
and
up?
they all just stop. And then which one of them, usually Reese, but one of them will say, "Well, he was da 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 da," and I don't care why.
Yeah.
The why does not matter. You can't do that. Like I don't need to hear excuses. I don't need to hear any of that stuff. It doesn't. Whatever they did doesn't. And then I'll turn and jump on the other one for whatever they did too. But it's
I'm an equal opportunity.
that's right. I'm not going to miss anybody.
Yeah.
We're going to get them all. But that happens all the time with the kids. Where they think that because they know they weren't supposed to do what they did, but they think since it was paying somebody else back that it was justified. And we do the same thing all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's mine really bad lately has been the drivers on the road. I went
Oh,
through
man,
a stretch. Well, I saw one. There was a stretch there
had a
last.
bad day yesterday on that. Go ahead.
I'm about to stop driving on 401. 401 scared the crap out of me.
401's horrible.
I saw a real bad wreck there
Yeah.
2 Tuesdays ago. I was about in a bad wreck a couple days after that. Somebody was going my way on 401. They had
Wow.
and it was pouring rain. And I think what they had done is they were trying to turn like a U-turn type thing, and they turned in the wrong way or something. And then once they did it, they were kind of stuck.
Uh-oh.
Like the little cut throughs, it was going the opposite
Yeah.
way, and they've turned there, and then they were trapped. So they just pulled into my lane and drove on down. And I'm
They going towards you?
coming towards me in my lane, and I'm riding along, and had a burnout headlight
Yeah.
to make things worse. So in the rain, I see one headlight about a couple hundred yards in front of me coming my way, and I'm like, that looks like a car in my lane, and that's not good. They never did swerve. I finally changed lanes 50 feet before I got to them. That one got me. And then that same week, I saw 2 people on motorcycles doing north of 80 miles an hour with their arms crossed.
Oh, yeah.
Riding a motorcycle
Oh, I've
with their arms
seen
crossed.
that.
All this within about a 5-day stretch.
I've seen a
I
guy
judged
ride
a lot
wheelie
of
up and
that.
down 401.
Well, that's dangerous for everybody.
Yeah, and I was one of the times I was in the car with the kids, and this goes to your point, and I yelled at the person in front of me. I'm sorry, but I said to Gabe and Reese, I said the thing about it is, if they wreck, it's not just them. This is I-4.
Yeah.
They're going to take out 4, 5, 6 people with them if this move that they're trying to make. So we talk about righteous indignation sometimes. Sometimes it feels like it's okay to judge others when their sin is going to have collateral
about to
damage.
kill-
Well,
You're about to kill
but
me.
I don't know if that you wouldn't be right up in judging that. I mean, I would call the cops because that's a danger to everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I wouldn't classify that as being judgmental, but
No, I think that's being, man, you
responsible.
about
I
to
think
hurt
you're
somebody.
good.
Yeah.
And if it ain't me, then it might be my son or my daughter that's driving 3 cars in
I
front.
could.
That's trying to save lives. And I think there is a time that that's the only thing that's judging as much as it is. No, that's being cautious and caring.
Well,
for
if you want to
others.
put judgment about driving, I got one for you. Every time I come to Fuquay,
Oh,
Texas, Georgia, I'm okay with them. I'm thinking, man, I know why they're here. They're trying to get out from where everybody else is moving down there. But I have a complete attitude when I see it in New York, Pennsylvania, California. I say, man, why are they here? We don't like them.
This is the textbook definition of prejudice.
So
by the way.
that's judgment. That's being judgmental. I don't know those guys from Adam, any of them. The guys
listeners
in California.
Dixon line.
Yeah, the people from California could be Christian people.
Yeah, might be nice.
Texas could be atheists.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, I have and I don't want to say it might be a bias. It's just because everywhere I've gone in North Carolina, everywhere I've lived, has been overrun by outsiders.
No, that's just time of the days.
Do what?
You know, that's just the way it is.
I know,
where we live.
I know, but it just aggravates me.
Yeah.
Maybe we should just.
We should just go.
We just need to have you just quit driving, and we'll get you a pickup service.
Before I kill somebody. Yeah.
I'm trying to think where you could live in North Carolina and it ain't gonna be over.
I mean,
Well, I would,
Hamlet.
Well, the
Yeah.
rural areas, I think, are
the drive-through counties.
yeah.
Are,
yeah,
they're
like
still
like
they're-
an Eflin or
Places
something.
nobody
yeah.
wants to live.
Well,
Yeah.
they're the same as always. But if you go anywhere near the coast, you're going to be.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, nowhere on the west, the east, and central. Anywhere in between those, that's where you can stay.
Yeah.
Where there's not much.
And anywhere around
Because there
Hot
ain't
Springs,
much.
because that's a nightmare over there. That's
No.
just crazy.
I saw a graphic or
I
something
mean,
on
that is some traffic.
Yeah, I saw a graphic, something on Facebook floating around a while back of like, if you're north of the Mason-Dixon line and thinking of moving to North Carolina, these are the best places to move, and it was basically directing them to the places that
Virginia.
I think it was like directing them to where, like Raleigh, Cary, Charlotte, where
So-
most of the people
Right,
have moved,
yeah.
so that the rural areas would still be populated by the
and
natives.
that's hurt too, because a lot of these publishers are saying top 10 best places to live in
Yeah.
North Carolina and other states.
Like 5 of them in
And
Wake
they
County.
see that all across the country, and they're like, okay, well, let's
I'm
go
moving
here.
in there.
And
Yeah.
and Fuquay was like the top 50, and now they're in the top 10 now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those
Holly
guys
Springs
that put
is
out
top
that
5.
have
I mean,
no
it's-
clue.
Yeah, I've never thought I'd live in the
No.
top 10 town to live in.
Yeah.
You know?
Still not convinced.
I remember when I was like in my 20s,
I
I was
love it, but
Yeah.
I was out in St. Louis, and I said something about Cary, and the person that I was talking to from Portland had heard of Cary, and I'm like, seriously, you've
Oh,
heard
yeah,
of Cary?
Cary's famous.
That doesn't make any sense. But
Cary's famous.
Portland, Oregon, or
I was just picking a city. I don't really
okay,
know where
or
they're
man,
from.
I didn't know which one Portland you were talking about.
Yeah, Cary.
Dallas, how's that?
Dallas. Renowned, man.
Yeah, there's only one Dallas. Yeah.
Oh man. So, been a little busy, Brandon. sounds like you've been coming in on two wheels.
The Lord's blessed me very much. So
Yeah.
that's all I can say.
I can tell you that.
Yes.
That's a good problem though when you're self-employed.
Yeah.
Beats the heck out of
Coming from, just had a dream of mine to do something like this, and then for the Lord to, just when you think you're getting a week here, you're like, okay, I can maybe slow down a little bit. It just keeps on coming and coming. So,
yeah.
but I wouldn't have it any other way, really.
About
maybe
time to
sometime.
hire somebody, man.
Phew, it'd be nice. It's just
You got to find somebody that's reliable.
well that, and then
Is that hard?
I know
That's
me.
hard.
Like I will pay. Y'all will get paid no matter what. That's just so that kind of scares me, just because another family depending on me when I'm already making
Right.
sure I'm depending on my own family to make sure I take care of everything. But
Yeah.
but yeah, people ask me how's business and all that stuff, and I said, you know what, it's going. I'm very blessed, but the Lord will always provide. I mean,
Yeah.
and He has tenfold.
One of the things I have
Even when I didn't believe that
yeah.
even that I didn't think I could do it myself, but He showed it every time. I mean,
Yep.
from day one.
Yeah.
So
One of the things I have a hard time, I just try to remind myself of this a lot of times. I'm really bad to get distracted by my blessings sometimes. And that can be an easy trap to get into. You have these things that you want, you get these things that you want, and you get these things that work out the way you want them to, and the next thing you know, you're spending so much time on those things or doing these things or whatever that you're forgetting to remember the blesser, as I think you've said before.
That's right.
And I think I think it's a constant struggle for people. Maybe more. I think me and you might struggle with it more than Kenny. Kenny gets to sit back and enjoy his jams and jellies business, and he's got people
knocking it
trimming
out.
all of his flowers and cutting his grass.
Is that
for
because
him.
he's retired, or is it because of?
No, I'm still working.
well, apparently he just has to deal with the traffic. Other than that, it's pretty good.
Yeah, if we can get him a driver, he's set.
I'm ready for a change in weather, maybe tomorrow.
We went to the pool the other day, and even the pool was too hot. I mean, like you get in the water, and it's like it's bath
feels
water.
like it's yeah.
Yeah.
That's why you like swimming in the morning. It's still cool water.
Well, I'm telling you, I think I just got I feel better in the morning
Yeah.
What?
when I swim in the morning.
I know he's really sticking to that story.
Man, hey.
I mean, it's been how many
I'm
Please
months?
send
telling
him
you,
a-
yesterday afternoon I went swimming and I was off rhythm. I couldn't get it right. I was sitting there like, no,
This the afternoon session?
This don't feel right. This don't feel right. And then the kick didn't feel right. And I was only able to do like 4/10 of a mile.
You
It was
think a lot more about
bad.
your swimming than I do when I swim.
No, I'm telling you, if you're gonna do for distance and keep, where you go,
Yeah.
you've got to do it by technique.
So are you
'cause
timing yourself? Like, are you trying to go as far as you can in a certain amount of time,
Yeah,
or just trying
yeah.
to go into your?
What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get to half a mile in 30 minutes.
Okay.
All right.
Because when you're saying I'll
then
limit
I'm gonna
4
start
tens, I'm
getting
like, well, then
to.
just go the last 10.
Then I'm gonna go. I want to go get to where I'm doing a mile or close to a mile in under an hour.
Okay.
And then I'm going to really start shaving that off. And so all that involves, it's not necessarily just speed. It's speed and endurance.
Yeah.
Because I can swim fast. I promise you. I can swim that 25 meters quick. It's just that, all right, now you got to turn around and go another 25
Yeah.
and turn around and go another. And a lot of times you get to the other end. So I'm using it more as high interval training now than I am endurance. But I'm getting there.
You would think he'd be in the Olympics. And Brandon asked him one day how long he'd been doing it. 3 days. When he was talking, it was like 3 years.
Hey,
or something.
he's been studying for years. He just put to practice for 3 days.
Oh
I bet if we pulled up his YouTube history, it'd be all a bunch of Olympics.
Yes,
Yeah,
it
there you
is.
go.
It is. I'm watching. I don't know what to do with this hand when this hand's coming through, and you got to cup it just right. You got to catch it and push the water. It ain't your feet that make speed.
I remember you saying that, yeah.
So I'm learning this stuff, man. I'm just
Does the mass fog up?
no, it does not. That's one of the best masks.
Is it here?
No, it's out.
Okay, all right.
How big of a
I
mask
wore
we
it.
talking
If
about?
you look at,
I tried. I couldn't see.
you couldn't see it?
All it shows is you're sitting.
yeah, I think
there
there's
and then-
another angle that's from the other
Okay.
side because I put the thing
Because
on.
the people are walking by
Yeah,
or get
yeah.
on the stage and with the pies and stuff. And
I was going to do
Oh, I
that.
didn't. This is Friday. I wasn't there Friday.
I put my snorkel mask on when they were going to hit me with the pie because I was like,
Okay.
I had come up
That's
with a
probably
plan.
the first time it's been used.
What? No, it's trust me. It's
he had to get the
been
tag
used.
used.
used
I
that.
know, but it's probably the first time it's been used.
He had to take the tags off of it.
And I've learned some things too. I mean, it's because I was losing count. I'd go to one end and go to the other, and oh no, is that one? Is that three? Because it's a swim.
Yeah.
So I've learned all kinds of
circulation
things.
off where you can't think.
So I got a little counter. I bought a counter that when I get to the end, I just click it, go back, click it, then multiply by 50. A lady last night taught me that if you get a water bottle and every time you get there, just move it over one tile, then you can count the tiles. You can do that. So I just lose count, man.
So you multiply it.
He went and bought a ticker.
For birthday, I'm hoping I'll get some little hand fins that teach you, or
yes, with the ones with the webs in.
Yes, that help you to know. All right, are you doing this right?
So, you're more invested in this than I am in my golf game.
I'm telling you, man. I am in
hey,
this.
Let's all
thing.
get together and give him a wetsuit when I'm thin.
That's
really
a good
cut
idea.
through that water.
I am in. I want to get to where I can really swim, and I want to start seeing it pay off on my body style. I'm looking forward to looking like
getting more
like Michael Phelps.
lean,
Yes.
Yeah.
It's what's just happening.
And one of your
It's
goals
happening.
should be to be able to do this without the snorkel.
I ain't getting there. I like that snorkel. Plus, I'm gonna tell you what, that pool, I ain't putting my face in that thing.
I'm just trying to think when I swim. My face never goes into, you turn like this.
Yeah, but you're supposed to be like this. Again, streamline.
Well, I'm not trying to be an Olympian. I'm just trying to get to the other side.
If I just get to the other side, you can do that.
Are you finally going to get the numbers this week?
I am. In fact, I want to share something with you before we get there.
Gabe Sundays,
I have
by the way.
spent so much time in Numbers 14 that I think I got it about memorized. It's been a journey. But go ahead, Gabe.
Well, Gabe said Sunday when he got the bulletin, you said we're going to be real quick today, and he looked at the bulletin and he said, this is not going to be quick. How are they going to get to this in
I'd
15
already had
minutes?
somebody say this is going to be a two-parter, ain't it? And it may still end up being two parts. Who knows? But Numbers 14, the Israelites are at Kadesh Barnea, and one of the worst tragedies in Israel's history as far as the nation and with God happens at Kadesh Barnea. They have sent spies out into the promised land, one from each tribe. So it's a representation of the entire nation. Two of them come back with a report saying, man, this land is good. God's given it to us. Let's go get it. That's Joshua and Caleb. 10 come back with a report saying, what God says is true. It's good land. But the people there are too big. They're too strong. They make us look like grasshoppers. It wasn't a good report. Well, what's so sad is the entire congregation goes with the 10. So you have basically 4 men versus the entire nation. And there's one in particular, it's Joshua, Caleb, Aaron, and Moses. Aaron and Moses, when they hear all the decisions that Israel makes, hits their face. Joshua and Caleb begin to reason with the people. And I just want to share with you Numbers 14, and it's verse 24. The Lord spoke to Mary. Let me see now. Is that the right verse? Yeah, 14:24. I ain't got my glasses, Kenny.
Just start reading it. Kenny will correct you if you're wrong.
There you go. But as for my servant Caleb, because he has now get this, a different spirit, and he has followed me fully, I will bring him into the land which he entered. I love that different spirit. Let me think about it. What is it that set him apart? Well, he was courageous, his character, and maybe his circumstances. I mean, in his character, he stood. He stood in spite of the entire nation being against him. He was still willing to say, no, God said, let's go get it. Let's go get it. That takes a lot of courage. I think if you think about his character, he because of, like you said, the people of Israel and their stupidity and their sin, he's now got to spend 45 more years walking through the hot desert when he was ready to go then. And I think that's a different spirit. You never hear him gripe. You never hear him being mad at God. You never hear, no, he does it. And I think one of the things that sets a godly person or a Christian apart is, look, we're totally different. So when there's a famine, we share. When there's adversity, we sing. When there's difficulties, we praise. We are a different lot. We are to be strangers and aliens. We're to be kind of, in this world, look totally opposite. But last but not least, think about this. His circumstances. Caleb is 85 years old. and it is time to go into the promised land. So they've served out their penalty. All those folks 20 years old and older have died. So now Caleb's ready to take the land, and he comes up in Joshua chapter 24, and he basically says, I'm just strong as I was back then. Let's go get them. And he says, with the strength of the Lord, I'm about to whoop some giants. I hope they got fortified cities. I'm going to take them too. And I mean, this is a man who knows. He's held on to the promises of God and knows I'm going to walk in them. And that takes courage, but it also takes a different spirit. When you go to Joshua 24, it says, Caleb who followed the Lord with his whole heart. That's the whole point right there. Mm-hmm. And that's the other 167. The whole heart is not just, I'm dedicated this hour. No, it's wholehearted seeking the Lord each and every week. So Caleb's one of my favorite characters in the Bible. I would love to be 85 years old and be able to read that and say, yeah, baby, I know how you feel.
I feel like that too.
Then it's like, I may be like, ooh, I'm 85. I can't even see the page.
We on Bible study last night. Doug was one of the questions that Doug had was, what are some definition or some examples of outcasts in society, like groups that are typically kind of looked down upon or judged. It's funny when you think about outcasts, the way you were just describing what a Christian's called to be, we should be outcasts in society. From a society standpoint, we would be if you're doing it the right way or whatever you want to call it, but if you're walking by the Spirit, you are going to stand out and you're going to be in the dramatic minority in a lot of situations for the way you handle.
Especially, even in this country, I would have said a couple of years ago, maybe not as much in America in the 50s. Now, man, it's you are the minority.
And the thing about that is that a few years ago, hearing that, I would have believed that, but I would have thought that was kind of a burden that Christians carry, is having to be so much different than everybody else, having to face the adversity, in such a different way. But the more I try to do it, it's not a burden we carry. It's the part of the blessing is that we are able to do that, and that's where you find the peace in the crappy situations, is because you aren't seeing it the way the rest of the world does or treating it the way the rest of the world does.
And it is being real.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just a finicky nice, and it's not just a American Christianity.
Yeah.
This is a true dying of self we're talking about.
Yeah.
That's what it takes.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, Brandon,
come back.
Come back.
Yes, anytime.
All right.
If you got Tuesday afternoon, you're welcome to join us.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
He will.
With jam and jellies. Is that right?
Yeah, you can write it off on your taxes.
Okay. Who do I write it out to? For a tax person?
you can.
Here we go.
If I receive, I can't deduct that. I have to give you something so I can deduct that.
Okay, well, then just give it on me.
He's going to pay you, and then you're going to be able to write that off.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you got to write that off.
Are we sure he was an accountant?
See, he's not much of the daily numbers. He's more the big assets. Okay. That's where he knows where to put the big stuff at.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But you don't have any. I don't know how to do that.
No, listen, I told you, I'm just trying to make a living.
You don't have anything. I didn't know. How did you know that?
I don't know. I guess from Ben.
Oh, yeah. Olympic swimmer over here.
No, but thank
Next
you.
week we're going to be diving.
What a great invitation. Hey,
bye, everybody.
You go up from, you ever going to make your homemade peanut butter?
Well, it's easy. You just need the right nuts.
That's a slogan to sell on.
You can say organic and raise it $2, $5. That's what
And what's that called?
What?
In the business world, what is that called?
It's called scamming.
I knew he would know the answer.
Price gouging.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna tell you. You can tell one story.
It was hot.
Do you understand now why it takes to Friday or Saturday sometimes to get it out?
I ain't talking about me doing it.
Oh.
Like I just,
Well, then why don't you just say it like that?
Don't be cagey.
Yes.
Man, I thought
you got a zero turn. I bet you got a
full
zero
price.
turn. Don't you? I bet you got a zero turn and stuff like that, don't you?
Hey, talking about potato sticks on that, I know we got it. But I came home.
No, you have no idea how long this part of the show actually lasts. This is usually about 30 minutes.
So what do you say when the meat of it's only what,
we
10
do
minutes?
some editing. We'll do some editing. We'll get in here and pick on
We've
each
been
other
here,
20 minutes. If you're like in this heat right now, if you're outside in this heat, you can't just drink all straight water. You got to mix in some electrolytes, because if not, you can still get washed out.
See, we got the health guy, we got the fashion guy.
Yeah.
So we got pretty much well covered.
Yeah. We can talk about Jesus too once in a while.
That does come out. Let it shine.